Welcome to Reclaim Your Life. I'm your host, Duane, and I'm an author, a life recovery coach, and a transformational catalyst for helping women live better lives. When we release the past, we can fully embrace the present. All of my guests this season will share their own journeys of self-discovery, how they push through pain with perseverance, and now live as self-loving, empowered women with a purpose. And I am so honored today to introduce you to Cari Murphy. Cari is an international speaker and award-winning media host. She's president and CEO of Empowerment Coaching Solutions. She's a life and business coach, and she's coaching thousands of conscious business owners around the world. On top of all of that, she's a best-selling author of 5 books, including the bestseller Create Change Now, and her latest book, which just came out, Treasures of Heaven, Lessons from the Other Side, and I was so honored to support her in that book launch. Cari is also the host of the globally syndicated radio program, The Cari Murphy Show, Straight Talk for the Soul, with over 750,000 listeners. The show has been celebrated on iTunes Hot List since it began and is awarded the title of Best Spiritual Radio Show for 2013. Following a near-death experience in 1997, Cari's purpose became clear. Her intention is to empower millions to create inner worth, outer wealth, and optimal health. And all of that is happening on www.carimurphy.com. But I'm so happy today to share this series, this episode, with Cari Murphy. Welcome, Cari.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh, boy. I mean, I follow you on Facebook and Twitter and your show, and everything that you do is impeccable. It's authentic. It's from the heart. And I found a very powerful quote that you have on your website, I believe. And it says, and I think it's a great intro to our conversation today, if we want to experience something different within us and around us, we must first open ourselves to the new desires energetically. We have to do the inner work before our external world changes to match it. And I love that because so many people, they think they're working the law of attraction and they're putting out vibrations, but they don't do that inner work. And so you're the master and the expert of that. So let's dig into what's happening now in your life and all the wonderful things you're doing.
Sure. Life is amazing. Life is wonderful. I really do love what I do, and I really love empowering other men and women. I don't just work with women, but men too, to really develop success as well. And I do it, like you said, from the inside out. Most people approach it the opposite way. Well, let me seek success outside of myself, and then I'll feel better, right? And so what I really want to empower people to do with everything that I do, with my coaching and the books and the radio show and events like these, is really taking accountability and responsibility and for what they're creating from inside and shifting from being a victim of their circumstances, and I mean that with compassion and love, to being a very conscious creator. And it all begins with our thoughts and our emotions and our expectations and our beliefs and all of those beautiful energetic things. And then from that space, when someone takes this beautiful inspired action, anything is possible, and I speak from experience because I don't teach anything that I haven't learned has worked for myself and worked for thousands of clients. So it's really inside-out living at its finest that I promote.
Now, what's interesting about you is many of us didn't really discover spirituality until something horrific happened in our journey. But you, as a child, were fascinated with spirituality. You were fascinated with angels and space and stars. So tell us a little bit about that, and then this path, this journey that you've been on your entire life to tapping into your soul.
Yeah, I always felt a little bit odd and different growing up because I was always out in nature talking to angels and communicating with the world around me and realm, and so I always felt a little bit odd and different, and really just wanted to fit in. Like, how can I just fit in here? And then I had my near-death experience in 1997, and it really, really helped me claim that uniqueness that I thought was so strange about myself, and really learn to celebrate it and honor the voice of my soul, which was always directing me, always, as I was growing up. But it was, I went through a phase where I didn't want to listen to my intuition. I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to be, quote, normal. And what I learned to do was really celebrate that uniqueness. And that's what I really love to help others do now, is celebrate that beautiful, unique brilliance and light that you have, because there is no one like you. And so over the years, it's gotten easier and easier to just speak my truth and claim it and, move from that little girl who thought she was so odd and different, seeing and talking to angels and, really just loving. I was so introspective, and I loved writing, and I loved being out in nature, and it's I've come to claim that as a really beautiful tool and something that I've used over the years now to help me help others. But it's been a journey. It's been a journey for sure, and I think that the most important thing is I've learned how to celebrate my, all of my imperfect parts of myself, or all of the parts of myself that I used to think were so different and unique, and that's what has made the journey now so much more harmonious and enjoyable, and it's what helped me find joy in the journey and not wait until something outside of me happens, or I get that that book becomes a bestseller, or that happens. I really learned to enjoy the journey and live from my soul and lead from my soul.
How did people respond to you when you were younger? And obviously your interest was so different than kids your own age. How did they respond to you?
Well, thankfully I balanced that out with a lot of sports. And so I did sports and cheerleading and dancing and all of that stuff, and it really did help balance and integrate me into society. But so I think the other parts of me, I thought I was more weird than, it was my own perception, because I thought no one else talks about this, no one else does this, so maybe it was because I kept it to myself that I thought others thought I was weird, but looking back and what, family members tell me, nobody really did. It was just my own perception. And that's one thing that I've learned about, is our perception shapes everything. And so as I've learned to expand my perception of myself and others and expand my perspective, everything around me has become a lot easier and a lot more fun.
So that's interesting that, there wasn't a seed of, feeling inferior or anything planted as you went along. It was more your own perception that you were so different, yet kids didn't really, criticize or.
Oh, I went through that too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I went through that too. I think we all do. Yes, I had many challenging years growing up, as we all do in junior high and certain ages. And I can remember being in class in junior high, and I was always in my own world. I hardly ever listened to the teachers, even though I did well in school. I was always off in my imagination and all over the place. And I can remember some of the people teasing me, about just being in my own world all the time, and little things like that, and that stuck with me. And I thought, God, I need to get out of my my imagination and really focus on what other people are doing. And what I came to realize was, wow, what a gift it was that I had that ability to imagine and experience that magical part of life that so many of us lose sight of. And and that's what makes it enjoyable and fun. So I just wanted to say, yeah, I didn't go unscathed growing up. I was ridiculed and judged and teased too. So you move through it and you get stronger.
You sure do. You talk a lot about in your own self-discovery, you realize that the physical body is essential for living, but it's just a fraction of who we really are. It's our soul that is of the greatest importance. And, but you were feeling this way even before you had that medical emergency. Was it heart surgery, I believe? Or
it was a near-death experience. I mean, I was out. I saw the light. I was out for 5 or 10 minutes. I was going. Yeah. Ooh. So it was. But I came back with a much broader, expansive awareness and remembrance and understanding than I had before. I was always pretty expansive before, but this really helped me understand the way the universe works and why I was here, and it's why I talk so much in my work about, as a soul success coach, about energy dynamics. I really was made very fully aware of how things really work around here and what to do to be successful, and what works, what doesn't work, and from the expansive perspective of the soul. And yes, we do live in these, we are housed in these physical bodies for a temporary period of time, but it is our soul that is eternal, that never dies, that collects all of this beautiful wisdom and information that we gain from every life experience. And so our soul is continually expanding from everything that we're doing and choosing to experience here. And so when we become more aware of what we're creating, because one of the greatest things I learned is we are these beautiful creative beings, and we came here with somewhat of a blueprint of what we wanted to experience, but we also have this beautiful gift of free will where we get to decide what door to open, what door to close, how long we stay down with the challenge. We have the optimal gift of choosing every single thing. And so what I've learned to do is be much more conscious and aware of what I'm choosing and when I'm choosing it and why I'm choosing it. That way I can step into that powerful creative role that we're all intended to claim that role. A lot of people live on autopilot, and you've probably heard that, but it's really a matter of realizing that our outer world, and I've learned this firsthand now, is really just a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So as we really begin to master what's going on inside, we also will see those results reflected in our external reality. And that is so exciting and empowering.
So what are some of the first steps that someone can take to start to understand this inner work, this process of connecting with that creative source that's within? How do people start that conversation? What are the first steps they can take?
Well, I always tell people you've got to slow down enough to hear the voice of your soul communicating with you, because I always feel like our soul is attempting to guide us and direct us in our experiences, but we have to slow down long enough to be able to hear that internal guidance that comes through in the form of ideas or inspiration or synchronicity, and we have to begin to pay attention to those things. And from that space, one of the greatest things I've learned is, so often we are out there taking action, going. And I've learned the importance of balance, and I've learned the importance to shifting from that go mentality to be, because it's from that space that we get the beautiful insights and ideas that we are intended to take action on. What I have found is when people take action just because they feel like they have to, or it's not very inspired. They're drained. They don't feel great. They feel like something needs to change, but they don't know what, and they're running around in circles, feeling frustrated. And so what I have found is when people can get to that BBB space, at least integrate that into your day at some point. You slow down long enough to where you get these wonderful, amazing new ideas, and then you take action. And then what happens is it's sort of like the universe opens up, time expands, you have more time because you're doing things from a space of joy. And I could go in so many different directions with this right now, but for the sake of time, I think what I want to share most is listen to the voice of your soul that is trying to communicate with you by slowing down, whether it's whatever. Everybody is different, and so whatever makes your heart sing, do that a little bit more every day, and then you're going to be in that space of joy. And when you take action from that space, your energy changes, and what happens then is that the signal that you're broadcasting out to the world is different. So you're going to now attract people and opportunities and experiences that are totally different because you're on a different wavelength. Your signal is different. And so what I want to empower people to do is realize you have control over that signal that you're putting out into the world, because that is what people are responding to. Your success or lack of it is really just it's determined by the signal you're putting out. So as you get a little bit more quiet, feel a little more joy, take more inspired action, you shift that signal, and then different opportunities and people naturally flow to you, because I feel like we're these walking, talking magnets. And so if you don't like what you're attracting, you just have to slow down and decide what kind of energy you want to put out there, because then it will be matched, whatever it is that you decide to change. And I just love it because it's very empowering when people realize how the power that they have to mold and shape and sculpt their reality.
That's absolutely magnificent, and I applaud you for saying that, because we are a society that is conditioned to doing,
Yes.
and we raise children in that same mindset of doing. And when we do slow down and we focus on being in the present moment and being connected, it is absolutely incredible, the divine guidance that is within us, available to each and every one of us, not just special people, to every single one of us has this, but we just are not trained,
paying attention
to
we're not acknowledging it.
Right. And I found that in my own life. I suffered desperately for 25 years from alcoholism because I just couldn't connect with my soul. But once I did, I heard a different voice, Cari, that took me on a different path and said, you're going to have an amazing life, but you have a lot of work to do. And once you've mastered those lessons, you will need to go and teach others. And that's what I do now. It is my purpose. I know I'm here to help other women not make the mistakes that I made.
Yes. Or to realize that they have the capacity to move through them as quickly as they choose. Because what I have found is, even with all of this awareness, the reason that we are alive is expansion. So we're always going to have challenges come into our lives. Just because we're aware, like I am, of the way the world works, and I had the near death and I get it all, it doesn't mean that I am immune to challenges. But what I have learned is I have the capacity to choose how quickly I move through these challenges and the perspective that I have on the challenges. What I have found is when I can expand my perspective to look at every experience from the vantage point of my soul, I see it for why it's there, what it's trying to teach me, and I'm able to move through it much, much more quickly. And that's the beauty of this kind of awareness that anybody has access to. And when you were saying a minute ago about, moving from that go, 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 and that this society that teaches us that it's just about accomplishments, external accomplishments, when you shift into just being more and enjoying life more, everything starts to change around you. Your relationships improve because you're enjoying the journey. And what I have learned, even with children, my daughter is now a senior in high school, when I stopped saying, so many parents around us are, you need to do this, you need to do this, you have to do this, you got to conform to society, and you have to be involved in this and this and all these millions of things. When I let go of all that and said, what do you want to do? What makes you happy? It doesn't matter what I want for you or what society says you should be doing. What do you want to do? And when I started to do that and let her make her choices, our relationship, it just lived like we're best friends. We always have been. But when I realized I don't have to follow society's ways of raising children either. She is the most grounded, joyful, happy person, healthy, happy. And I wish that we could all do that with our families, our children, our spouses, our partners. When we can just let go and just celebrate who they are, they rise to the occasion and they rise to meet that positive celebration of them. When we're constantly looking at others like, shouldn't you be doing this, and why aren't you doing it this way, and society says you should do it this way, oh God, it's draining, and it's not effective either. And anyway, went off on a little tangent there.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. And I've seen you with your daughter pictures, and she's absolutely beautiful. And you see that light. You see the essence in her as a young woman. So by letting children just be, allow them to be, instead of, some predetermined goal that you have as a parent for what your child should be doing. Just allow them to be. It's magnificent. And what happens is that they evolve and they become very
They become
authentic.
more than you could have ever, more than I could have ever imagined, when I let go. And it's the same with our relationships. It's the same with clients. It's the same with everybody in our lives. And we choose to see them as the beautiful, unique, brilliant, magnificent being that they are, and we hold that space for them. They rise to meet that. And it's not because we're making them do that. It's because we're holding them in this beautiful space of love. And that's possible with any single relationship in our lives, whether it's personal or professional. And it's pretty profound when you see the impact that you can have on others just by loving them and celebrating them and honoring them for the unique being that they are.
Oh, magnificent. I hope that people listening to this will take, if nothing else, just this one tidbit that we have here and apply it to their kids, because obviously we've seen this year tremendous tragedy involving children that are very disturbed emotionally, and they go out and they lash out on others. Because they don't feel good about themselves, or they're frustrated, or they feel like they do not fit in. And so if parents could take that one recommendation that you're talking about and just let them be and, allow them to discover who they are instead of pushing and shoving and trying to form and dictate and direct.
Mold them into these cookie-cutter characters. And, it's just as powerfully effective with those of you listening who have clients and colleagues and loved ones. Because when I have found, there are some styles of coaching where it's this cookie-cutter approach where here's the way you should be and here's the way you should go out and be a coach or be this or be that. And it's a cookie-cutter approach. And I'm not saying it's not effective. I think that it can be effective for some people. What I have found is when I celebrate someone's uniqueness and really acknowledge it, oh my gosh, they're more successful than anything, because you're not trying to mold or shape them into a cookie-cutter, perfect, individual. You're acknowledging their beauty and their imperfections and their uniqueness. And when you do that, your clients soar, your personal relationships do, and your children. But I will say, it begins within. You have to celebrate yourself first before you can understand how to celebrate other people. So if it seems like a challenge, I encourage you just to find ways. I have certain clients have momentum journals for themselves where they just celebrate themselves. Every morning they write in their momentum journal everything that is going right in their world, everything that is working, so that they take the attention off of what they feel isn't working or what's not right. And it just gets the focus shifted onto their brilliance and their genius. I was blending the word there. And then they really do start to celebrate themselves. And as they start to do that, it becomes just natural that they would celebrate others. And then they see everything starting to transform around them.
And that's so wonderful, that to have that focus on what's going right. We spend so much time focusing on what's not going right or what we don't have at this given moment, when, in fact, it's just so much easier to celebrate everything that's going on right and everything you have today. And when you do that, the love just builds. And in order to really give love away to other people and empower them, you have to have it within yourself, as you said. You can't give something away you don't have.
Exactly. And it's not selfish. We were raised, or I was raised, I'll speak for myself, in a society that said, don't put yourself first, put everybody else first. That's selfish if you take care of yourself. And I'm here to debunk that myth. I mean, that just doesn't work.
Hit that one on the head.
You need to be selfish, and we need to redefine that word selfish, because you have to put yourself first. You have to nurture and nourish yourself and celebrate yourself, because as you do that, you become a better wife, a better husband, a better mother, a better father, a better, in your career. You have to put yourself first. So I want to say that, I had to completely squash that old idea that was programmed into me as a kid, oh, that's selfish. Don't be selfish. Oh, yeah, be selfish.
No, absolutely.
It's okay.
Yes, and I reiterate that exact same thing to women all the time. I said, look at American Airlines. They have it right. They tell you if the plane's going down, take care of you first, so then you can turn and help everybody else.
Yes.
There's really something to that methodology. You got to pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
Cari, you are so wonderful, so refreshing and inspiring. I know you have a free gift for our listeners, and that will be on the Reclaim Your Life event website. Tell us a little bit about what you have for the listeners today.
Well, the whole intention with the offering is to amplify your inner worth, which is what we've been talking about, and your outer wealth, which to me they're one and the same. As you alter your inner worth, your outer wealth, changes as well. And so everything that I offer is about expanding your mindset. I know you've probably heard about that, but it's very important to start becoming aware of your thoughts and your emotions and everything that you are creating your life with. So there are 3 different products in this particular free offer that will support you in doing just that. I want you to claim your role as this conscious creator of your experience in a very fun way, not in a way that, this feels like drudgery work, in a way that feels empowering and exciting, because as you step into this, you're going to realize how much fun it is and how much power you have over your life experience. And it doesn't matter what happened yesterday, or it doesn't matter what's going to happen 5 years from now. I always say there's no power in then or later. I want you to step into each moment realizing that that's where your power lies. And so with these 3 products in this offer, hopefully it'll get you jump-started. I just want to jump-start a new way of being for you that is more empowering than you've ever experienced.
Well, I'm going to go over and sign up myself. I mean, I'm excited about this. I love it. Now, if anybody wants to get a hold of you after this, how can they do that? How can they reach out to Cari to continue this wonderful conversation or work with you as a coach? Where should they go?
Well, the easiest place to find me would be go to the website at www.carimurphy.com, and it's CARIMURPHY.com. And you can check out the coaching programs, you can check out the radio show, the speaking event, all kinds of things that are going on. That's the best way to find me, and you'll see all the links on social media to connect with me there as well. And I want to take the connection here further. I love making new friends from all over the world, and I feel like we're all so beautifully interconnected that I love how synchronicity works with events like these. That it connects you with the people that you are intended to connect with. So I look forward to whomever falls into my path because of this beautiful conversation that we've had.
Thank you so much. You've just been wonderful, and it's truly, I'm just honored to share this time with you today.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
Just lovely. Thank you so much again, and
you're welcome.
Hopefully we'll do another project together. I would love it.
I would too. I really enjoyed you. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Wonderful, Cari. Bless you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.